So I think that we're going to see a war take place in Israel.
It talks about there being multiple antichrists and they're already here.
You know, maybe it's talking about nuclear war, and then it's also going to cause like almost like a World War III, I think. It says that even on the coastlands, God's going to execute judgment. Hey, the Bible's linking this passage to this passage and this passage to this passage. They're all talking about the same dude, which is the Antichrist.
Ruslan.
Hey, before we get into this video, do me a huge favor. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that like button. Huge percentage of you guys that watch don't subscribe or like. And we're now on podcast platforms. So if you're just listening to this or you're on one of the other platforms, make sure you leave a review and you're following there. That helps out a ton. We're trying to make sure that we spread out the content for you guys. All right, let's jump into this video. So how do you think this plays out? Like from your vantage point, what happens to Israel? Like if you were just to be like completely honest, you're not saying this is, we're not saying this is what's going to happen. You're saying from your opinion, how do you think this is going to play out?
Yeah, so when you look at Israel, they're back in the land. That's pretty crazy. And then you look at all these prophecies that are supposed to come. So for example, Ezekiel chapter 38 is really interesting. There are all of these ancient names, Ethiopia, these different ancient names that when you go back and you look at the history of where these names came from, and there's a healthy debate on them, but I would argue that Magog is talking about Russia. It's the most northern part. Without getting too deep into it, there's these different nations: Russia, Iran, Turkey. I would argue Sudan and Libya. Those would be the 5 nations that I would say Ezekiel 38 is discussing. It says in that chapter that these nations are going to join together. They're going to attack the Jewish state, but God is going to defend Israel. He's going to defend his people, and it's going to be a miracle that's going to happen. Here's what's really interesting about this, though, is after he defends his nation, it says that only after do the people start to worship God, do the people start to come to the knowledge of God again. So I think that we're going to see a war take place in Israel where Russia, Turkey, Iran, all these nations who at the time when it was written, Ezekiel was writing, Israel was literally captives in Babylon. These ancient nations were not even friends at the time. And now we're looking at these ancient nations that are now modern nations, and we're seeing, oh wow, a lot of them have a joint hatred for Israel today. I believe if they could, we've already seen Iran attack. But something is going to happen. I don't know how. I'm not a prophet, but something's going to happen to where these nations are going to join together and they're going to attack the Jewish state. This is what I believe. And then a lot of Jews are going to start to wake up. They're going to say, wow, that was miraculous. God just defended us. And they're going to start to come to faith in Jesus Christ in masses. And I believe that it's possible that that could happen before the rapture. It's possible it could happen after the rapture. But some point after that, and if you read the passage, it's interesting because
I got it pulled up here if you want to reference it. This is verse 9. This is what will happen in that day when Gog attacks the land of Israel. My hot anger will be aroused, declares the sovereign Lord.
Yeah.
In my zeal and fiery wrath, I declare that at that time there shall be a great earthquake in the land of Israel. The fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, the beasts of the field, every creature that moves along the ground, and all the people on the face of the earth will tremble at my presence. The mountains will be overturned, the cliffs will crumble, and every wall will fall to the ground. I will summon a sword against Gog on all my mountains, declares the sovereign Lord. Every man's sword will be against his brother. I will execute judgment, verse 22, on him with plague and bloodshed. I will pour down torrents of rain, hailstones, and burning sulfur on him and the troops. And so I will show my greatness and my holiness, and I will make myself known in the sight of many nations. Then they will know that I am the Lord God.
Yeah, so this giant war is going to happen. And, maybe it's talking about nuclear war. Maybe there's just going to be these meteor shower that's going to come down. We don't know how it's going to happen. It talks about like this fire, and Ezekiel's trying to describe this thing that he's seeing in front of him. And so then the question, this is just what I think. And, I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but I think if we're just talking, I think that this battle's going to take place. I don't know how soon, but all the pieces seem to be lining up because Israel's back in the land. These nations hate Israel. And it also says Israel's going to be in a time of peace before this battle happens. So maybe what's happening right now is Israel's defeating its enemies. It's going to feel like it's secure, like they're happy. And then these nations are going to come together. They're going to attack Israel. And then it's also going to cause like almost like a World War III, I think, because it says that even on the coastlands, God's going to execute judgment during this time. So imagine this like World War III happens, all of this crazy stuff happens. The Jews are now ready to start coming to Christ. And now everyone's looking for someone to bring peace. They're sick of war, that everybody's tired of war in the Middle East. And I believe that at that moment, there's going to come a man who's going to appear like has all the solutions. Like he has all the solutions to peace and prosperity, and everybody's going to put their trust in this man, and that man's going to be the Antichrist. He's going to make a peace treaty with Israel, like Daniel chapter 9, verse 27 talks about. And he's going to enter into this 7-year peace treaty agreement. Now the rapture in my view, the rapture will happen before that takes place. So maybe this war happens, the rapture happens, it's just total chaos on the earth, and then this guy appears, and it's like, hey, I have all the solutions, and people are going to believe him. They're going to follow him.
Yeah. What do you make of the verse in 1 John that talks about there being multiple antichrists, and they're already here? You would distinguish that from the Thessalonians.
Yeah,
like
it's
the big Antichrist versus the spirit of the Antichrist.
The title Antichrist is the one that stuck.
Yep.
I think he's only referred to as like the Antichrist, like definite article Antichrist, like one time. I think it's in 1 John as well. But he's often called, in Revelation, he's referred to as the beast of the sea. In Daniel, he's referred to as the little horn. They're all connected though, because you have the same time frames, 3.5 years, 7 years, abomination of desolation. Like there's links that link these passages together that cause us who are trying to study the scriptures, trying to figure out what's happening in the end times, that cause us to say, oh, hey, the Bible's linking this passage to this passage and this passage to this passage. They're all talking about the same dude, which is the Antichrist. We just the Antichrist is just a cool name too. So like if we called him like the coming world ruler, it's like not as cool as saying the Antichrist.
It's interesting stuff, man. And I don't know how it's going to pan out. I think I'm glad that we agree on the macro of like, hey, we're supposed to be faithful right now. We're supposed to do our part to preach the good news and live the good news and be the hands and feet of Jesus. And ultimately, I don't know how it all pans out. Maybe you're right. And it sounds like it, based on like a passage like Ezekiel. Like that's pretty intense stuff. Yeah, I think the Israel stuff is interesting, man. As like I've gone to Israel, I love Israel, but some of this stuff just seems super questionable, in the way they move. Because at the positioning of themselves is always kind of like this like moral high ground, which, for the record, in comparison to Iran and Turkey, I do think that Israel is better. But Israel, also has some questionable things in their own history, and
they're in a tough place.
Yeah,
they're a little tiny nation surrounded by enemies that wants them dead.
Yeah.
So
have you been?
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't gone. I think it's difficult for people who haven't gone to understand like that never again mindset, like that, we can never let this happen again. Like that drives so much of their psyche, good or bad, and then when you take that and you add in the far right of the ultra orthodox and the folks who don't serve in the military, and them forming this far right coalition with Netanyahu, it just gets so murky on some of this stuff, and this is not an indictment of the people of Israel, again, because when I say Israel, I mean the people of Israel all over, but some of the issues I have specifically with the government, and I'm just like, man, I don't know if I just take everything out at face value that comes from Israel. Like, yeah, Iran had a nuclear weapon and they were going to set it off on the whole world, so we had to. I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I believe that from you guys, you know? So that's the part where like, I don't know if Benjamin Netanyahu is a good faith actor. Like, I don't know if he is real, because he's not very popular amongst his own people, you know? Like his approval rating is not great, right? So that's some of the part where I think people are rightfully so skeptical about Israel in light of this conversation. And that's why I think like so many people were with Tucker Carlson and so many people were with Ted Cruz, and it kind of culminated. I think Ted Cruz could have definitely done a better job of like my politically why I support Israel is because of Genesis. Like that's a wild thing to say as a senator. I think there's way better reasons to articulate like, hey, they're our only democratic ally in the Middle East. We need to have a good relationship with them to maintain stability. Like I think he could have answered it that way instead of trying to like go the theology route and not even know the chapter in Genesis he was referencing.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to go to the Patreon-only extended version of this conversation. Consider signing up for a free 7-day trial where you could see the entire conversation and get access to all of our future podcasts, be able to interact with our guests, and much more. Here's a little preview of what's available on Patreon. I'll see you over there.
God's going to execute judgment. So imagine this like World War III happens, and now everyone's looking for someone to bring peace. Like what Jesus said, when you start seeing the seasons, when you start seeing these signs start to come to pass, like look up, like there something's about to happen.
Which is what Ted Cruz did, right? He's taking a verse from Abraham and he'll probably take a verse like this and say, and therefore all Israel. And there's a lot of sketchy stuff about Mossad. Not to go down the conspiratorial route, there's just folks that are saying that Mossad and the CIA worked on the Epstein list. And that's why that list is not coming out.
You can try to fit like a square peg in a round hole, but at the end of the day, you have to look at all of the details that are encompassed.
You never answer my question.
Is the Antichrist. We just call, I mean, the Antichrist is just a cool name too. So like.
Ruslan.